One other question, Annie Pema, about fear, especially when we look at what might be holding us back from taking a risk in our life,
Mm-hmm.
a risk to write the book I really want to write, or a
Mm.
risk to try a new career, or whatever, is this fear of potentially being criticized by other people. Other people are going to think terrible things about me if I put myself out in this way, if I'm not well received. And that's one of the things that keeps people back, this fear of criticism. And I wonder, if you can help people with that.
Well, first I could say, well, it's going to happen. I mean, like, you write a book, and I mean, of course, there's going to be a lot of criticism. It's all right out there, in black and white on the paper or in the computer. Like, there it is for people to see and pick apart. So I say to them, if you follow your heart, you're going to feel better than if you hold back because of fear. But when you follow your heart with a career change or writing the book or whatever it might be, there is no guarantee that the whole thing won't be a total failure. And there's maybe are guarantees that you're going to get criticisms. You'll get praise and blame is the usual scenario. And you just want to hear the praise and don't want to hear the blame. But it's almost like, are you going to grow, or are you going to just stay as you are out of fear and waste your precious human life by just status quoing it instead of being willing to break the sound barrier? What do they call break the glass ceiling or whatever it is in your own life, willing to go forward, to use what I was saying earlier, willing to go forward instead of, if you're not going forward, then sometimes staying still is going backward. Particularly that's true when you have a calling in some direction. That calling needs to be answered. I feel that calling needs to be answered. And it's not necessarily going to work out the way you want it to work, but it is taking you forward, and you are leaving the nest, and that's never can be a mistake, to fly instead of stay in the nest with all the poop and everything that's in there.
What about if someone says, I'm paralyzed by fear? I hear what you're saying and I agree with what you're saying. I want to follow my calling. I want to. But I have this feeling of just too much terror.
Yeah. Well, I'd say to be really gentle with themselves, to not push it, and to give themselves, like, if they're young enough, to give themselves 5, 10 years, say, just move toward it for the next 5 years or the next 10 years. Just keep making baby steps, moving towards it. And part of that will be just working with fear, in any way, through meditation, or if there's people who are especially good at helping you work with fear, particularly paralyzing fear. Be gentle, go slow, take your time, but keep your eye on the goal, as they say. Just say, this is something I want to do, and I'm going to move toward it. And I have an end date, which could be in a year, could be in 2 years, 3 years, 5, 10. But if you're really paralyzed with fear, really to that degree, which I know many of us are, then give yourself more time. Give yourself enough time that you can your stomach can unknot when you think about doing it then.
Mm-hmm.
But then in the meantime, you've got to, you keep your eye on that goal, and you start moving toward it, working with the fear, and also, doing the other things that might help you change careers or write the book or whatever. And if it's something like writing, just start, not writing the book, but just keeping a blog or something that's not for the public, keep a journal but moving in the direction you want to go.